So on today's Academy lesson, we're going to go over one of the more important moves in all of card magic, which is known as the James Ellis loading move. Now, this is a move that you might see familiar with some ambitious card routines or some other tricks where you have a card and the spectator inserts the card into the deck after you showing it one last time, and you're still able to control the card. That is the nature and genesis of this move. However, that move does have a name, and it's the James Ellis loading move. Now I'm going to show you guys not only the move itself, but different ways to get into the move, as well as some applications of it in controls that don't necessarily involve the standard showing the spectator one last time and then inserting it into the deck. So without any further ado, the actual move itself is as follows. First thing you're going to need is a break below the bottom card of the deck. You could do this in whatever way you want. I personally like to use the buckle. That's the simplest way to get a break right there above the bottom card of the deck. The next action that you need to do is you need to have some card of value on top of the deck. In this case, it's going to be the Queen of Clubs. Now, in transferring this deck to the right hand, you're going to notice that that card is now going to be in a thumb break. So it's going to move from a pinky break to a thumb break. This is going to facilitate the next loading action, which is going to be a swing cut, followed by turning this card face down. So one more time, all we have is a break above the bottom card of the deck. We've shown the top card of the deck. We've transferred that break to a thumb break, and now we're doing a swing cut. So right now the thumb break is held by the right hand underneath that card right there. Between that card and the rest of the deck. So now we're going to use this half to tip and turn over this Queen of Clubs, because we're going to do the James Ellis loading move, which is as follows. We're going to place this right-handed half on the left-handed important card, in this case, the Queen of Clubs. We're going to place it about halfway down. Then we're going to use our middle finger to push up on this card, out jogging it. Now, at the same time, what's happening is that your thumb is actually hitting the back of the left-handed half of the deck, which is going to deposit this card on top of this card, but it's covered by the right-handed half. Now, one more time, you have a thumb break right here. We're going to push using our middle finger of the left hand, this card. We're going to grip it from the middle, and we're going to push it out, jogging it forward. Now, the instant our thumb hits the back of the packet in the left hand, that's when the card is going to automatically deposit itself right there above, in this case, the Queen of Clubs. So all in all that's happening is you're just out jogging this card to the spectator. However, you've secretly deposited a card on top of it. So all that needs to happen at this point is that you're going to rotate your left wrist to show the Queen of Clubs one last time to the spectator. Now, if you don't want you to see it and you don't want the spectator to be aware that you know what their card is, you just aim it towards them like this. So instead of turning your wrist this way, you're just going to aim it towards the spectator like this. So that's going to be the next step of the move. Now, the last step of the move, and what facilitates the switch, is going to be using your forefinger to push this card into the deck flush as you turn your wrist back into a parallel position with the ground. So you're going to notice that what that does is that effectively switches this card for the card that was originally on the bottom of the deck. In this case, it's the 9 of Clubs. So it's a wonderful little bit of a move, and it allows you to seemingly take this queen with a retention of vision. You notice that there's a slight retention of vision there because you show the queen here and then you use your thumb to push the card this way. So there's a slight retention of vision. Now you could place this card in the middle of the right-handed half. So what I like to do is I like to place it in the middle of the right-handed half, regrip the card. So I'm holding it between my thumb and fingers at the bottom, which, by the way, if you haven't noticed, is an indifferent card. So now by just pulling down with my pinky, I could place this half into the middle of this half, square the cards up, and you notice that that controls the card directly to the top of the deck. It's a wonderful little bit of a switch, and it's an excellent way to get ahead in a ambitious card routine, or it's an excellent way to just control a card if you want the spectator to think that their card is really going in somewhere in the middle of the deck, completely out of your control. Now, if you want to control the card second from the top, you're going to need to get a break above the second card from the top of the deck. So in this case, we're going to be using the James Ellis move with 2 cards as opposed to 1. So in this case, the action is the exact same thing. You're pushing a card, you're showing it, pushing it back into the deck. The only difference is that now, when you do the actual action of the move, instead of their card being directly on top of the deck, their card is actually going to be second from the top of the deck. Now, this works with pretty much any number of cards. I would say under 5, because if you get to more cards, then it becomes a little bit harder to hide that card because of the little gap right here. You notice that there's going to be a noticeable amount of cards over here, so the spectator might be a little bit privy to that. You could use your middle finger to block that, but I wouldn't do it with more than 4 or 5 cards. But you're more than welcome to do it if you need their card controlled to a specific position. I would say underneath 5 or 6 cards. So that's another interesting idea to use this with. Now this move also works from a spread. You don't necessarily have to do it from the swing cut position. The way that works is that the spectator touches any card they want. Whatever card they touch, you're going to out jog, and you're actually going to square up the deck, but you're going to get a break above the card directly above their card. So in this case, let's say they pick the 7 of diamonds. As I square up the deck, I'm getting a break above this card, which is the card on top of the spectator's out jogged card. As I squared up, and I'm just going to lift up all these cards as I show the card to the spectator one last time. So I'm going to lift up all the cards above the break, which is going to leave this card here on top of the spectator's card, so you could show it to them one last time and carry out the exact same mechanics to control the card, placing it in the middle of the deck, of course, their card being on top. So one more time, they touch any card they want. I out jog it. I'm going to get a break above their card. Now, as I regrip the cards and show, so I'm going to do these 2 actions at once. I'm going to show this card to the spectator. At the same time, I'm going to take up all the cards above the break, making sure that you time it correctly so that the spectators don't happen to see this action. So that should just look like that. You're going to square it up. Then you're going to place it just like we discussed before. Pull down with your pinky, place it in the middle. And of course, now that card is controlled to the top of the deck. Now, it doesn't have to be used as a control. It could be used as a switch. So in the same way that you're doing this move where you're getting a break above and showing the spectator this particular card, you could put it and switch it that way so that this card, if you place it on the table, maybe you're doing some sort of transposition, that is now an X card, and this is the spectator's card. So it could be used as a switch if the routine happens to call for the need for a switch in that particular case. Ooh, boy, this next one's really good. Now, while this isn't the James Ellis loading move per se, it still uses the same mechanics, so I thought it would warrant me teaching it here. But this is a thought of card using the same mechanics as the James Ellis switch. So for this, you're going to have the spectator think of any one of these 5 cards. Let's say for the sake of explanation, they think of the ace of spades, just to make it a little bit more challenging. So these cards are lost and shuffled in the middle of the deck, mixed and lost forevermore. You, of course, don't know the card the spectator's thinking of. However, you make an educated guess. So in this case, we're going to go through the deck, and we're going to go through the deck this way, and we're going to have the spectator name the card for the first time. And let's say the spectator happens to say, my card is the ace of spades. You go, that's a little bit interesting. I want you to notice, sir, I stuck out 1 card from the middle of the deck from before we started. And of course, that card happens to be the ace of clubs. Oh boy. What a wonderful world we live in. And this works 100% of the time. Every time. 70% of the time. So for this borrowed shuffle deck, simple as that. You could have the spectator take any 5 cards they want from the deck. So the spectator is going to be able to think of any one of these cards. So let's say we are going to proceed from here. So the spectator is thinking of one of these cards. You're going to put it on top of the deck, and you're going to do a series of false cuts. So here I just like to swing cut these cards into my left hand. Swing cut another packet and keep a break, and then swing cut just the rest of this half to make it seem like I'm just shuffling cards on top of it. Now I'm going to do the Mahatma control. I'm going to lift up all these cards above the break, shuffle them to the bottom of the deck, which is going to be the Mahatma control, which has now kept those 5 cards on top of the deck. At this point, I could do a riffle shuffle as long as I make sure to keep a nice little gap from the right half, mixing up the cards, and again repeating this action to really make it seem like I don't care about the condition or order of the cards. Now at this point, I'm going to turn the deck face up. I'm going to give the deck 1 swing cut and retain a break right here, because I'm going to spread down until I get to the top card of the deck, the original top card of the deck, which is going to be the last card in the break. So in this case, it's going to be the card directly above your pinky break, the 7 of clubs. So I'm going to spread this towards myself, and this is going to be the card that I'm going to out jog. Now, there is a 1 in 5 chance that this is the card that the spectator is thinking of. And if that's the case, all you need to do at this point is just turn your hand down and show the fact that you were able to ascertain the card that they were thinking of, which is, by the way, going to be really solid. Now, if that's not the card, you have an open index of the next potential cards that they could have thought of. So in this case, it could have been a 7, it could have been the 9, it could have been the Ace of Spades, it could have been the 7 of Hearts, or it could have been the King of Clubs. So at this point, all you have to do is they name the card, you're going to spread the cards, and whatever their card is, you're going to get a break above that card in the same way that we did the control. So you notice that in the same way that we did that control, you're going to get a break above the card that they're thinking of, and you're going to separate it from the deck as if you were doing the same spread control that I showed you in the previous part of this tutorial. So what this is going to do is that now when you square this card in, there's going to be a retention of vision because you're going to be able to show the fact that you have correctly guessed the card that they were thinking of. So at speed, I'm just going to square this card up and use my thumb to push it, showing the fact that I got their cards. So once again, you're going to come in, you're going to outjog the original top card of the deck, which is in this case is the 7 of clubs. You're going to have them name whichever card they're thinking of. In this case, you're looking at all the potential cards they could have thought of. Whichever card they name, you're going to get a break above that card. So in this case, if it was the King of Clubs, you're going to get a break above it in the same exact way as we showed for the control. So you're going to separate the cards just like this, which is going to leave that card there. This card's going to be outjogged, and obviously all you need to do at this point is just square this card up and show it to the spectator. If you want, you could square it up and then push it this way, or if you want, you could just square it up and show it just like this, that you were able to correctly guess their card, and of course using this wonderful little bit of a switch. So that is the James Ellis loading move, as well as some further ideas using the mechanics of the move. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys got something from that. Thank you guys for being part of the Pigcake Card Academy, and I hope to see you on the next lesson.